Ahoy! Good morning. Yes, I know it's been like... Okay, so far it's just been like 6 days since the last stream, huh? Been like 6 days. That's pretty bad, huh? I do have a good reason for it, though. Just trust me here. I do have a good reason for it. Yeah. If it isn't apparent right now, which good if it's not, the internet's been pretty bad this past couple of days. Nah, the thing is, ever since the last time the internet was like super bad for like several months, I've just been keeping an eye on how much like its consistency or how much it like fluctuates between good and bad, and only just recently has it been like disconnecting. Like my internet has been dropping every couple of like minutes, usually around like the evening. Or at least I think it's around the evening. Just when I was starting this up, I did drop like several like 100 frames, cause I don't know, maybe the internet was crapping itself at the moment. So yeah, not really too good on the lookout of am I able to actually like stream. But you know what? You know what? I did what little I could in the domicile that is my room, so it's just basically just the best we got. Maybe it'll on my end it'll go yellow from time to time, but that's at least better than it completely like dropping out. Cause I think this whole thing started when yeah, I think it was when I was watching the myth anniversary, when it started to like, okay, when the Gmod portion of it started, that's when the internet issues became really bad. Like I could not go without like 10 or 20 seconds without the internet dropping out. And I want to basically just bring up the question of, is it the splitter in the house again? Is it that? Or is my provider doing some really like shady stuff in the area again? It's either one of those. Last time the internet was really bad because of the splitter. I just want to see if it's the splitter again. Cause yeah, the last time this happened, well, okay, it was way worse last time. Last time I could barely manage to get what like 2 or 3 like megabytes upload, if even that. Now I'm consistently getting like what, within the 20s to like high 20s, and that's okay. To be completely fair, for my area at least, that's actually pretty decent, which is really sad. Like, I'm looking at Indonesian and Japanese internet, and like I am just like internally just like drowning in my own tears, cause man, what would I give to have internet as good as that over there? Like actually though, like those guys are getting like within the 8 or like 900s in like upload, and here in the States we're just suffering with like extremely like bottlenecked, like so super low upload. It's really sad. It's just super sad. Unfortunately, that would be one of my only reasons if to move overseas. That's not a good reason enough. I gotta have like, just, a long-term goal, right? Though I just really wish I had like I wish we had the internet that Asian countries have. Why don't we have that? Because internet providers have such a big monopoly over here, that's why. That's just literally what it is. Man, I wish Google Fiber would just be in our area, but no. Gotta deal with the current one for the foreseeable future. That sucks. Because the current one is just awful. But that's assuming it's their fault and not the fault of just something going bad in the house again. Because like I said, last time it was the you call it an internet splitter? It's just called a splitter, right? Yeah, last time it was a splitter. And unfortunately, if it does happen to be that again, that wouldn't make any sense too, because that thing is literally brand new. In the comparative lifespan to other like splitters, that is a brand new one. Like the old one was like really old, like over a decade or more. This one is new. So I don't know what it is. I want to just like bring up the question of why is the internet so fluctuating right now? Yeah, it's not consistent at all. I mean, I'm just looking at how like OBS is right now, and I'm going like occasionally going to yellow and then into the red for like a split second. It's just not consistent. It could be, actually, you know what? It could just be my Wi-Fi adapter. Maybe my Wi-Fi adapter is just absolutely horrendous now. Like, maybe I just need to get a new Wi-Fi adapter. That would be the next on the list of things I need to get, but won't because I keep forgetting to get them. Like, the most egregious on that list is sunglasses. I've been meaning to get sunglasses, 10 years ago. Yeah, I've been meaning to get sunglasses for 10 years. And I still haven't done it. Like, every time I think of the idea, I keep telling myself, yo, I should get sunglasses, except, I never do. I never get sunglasses, but I need sunglasses. Especially when you get into the seasons where, the sun is just blaring in your face as you're going down the highway. Yeah, no, I have no excuse for this. I literally, just like with my car windshield, I need to get a new one of both of them, and it's been like, okay, so for the sunglasses, it's been 10 years, yeah. But but at least for the window, that was like 6 years. No, it's only been 5. That's still pretty bad, though. That is still really bad. I literally have no excuse for this. I don't know, man. Just with the windshield, though, because it has, like, an extra component in it, like, I think it has something to do with the cruise control or something. Because it has an extra component in it, like, that's an extra $500 for, like, calibration on it, so what would have been just, like, a $500, like, replacement just becomes $1,000, and it's like, nah, man, really? It takes, like, $500 just to recalibrate that little thing? If I could do it myself, I would, but apparently I can't. It's terrible. Nah, but that's just how things are. Maybe eventually I'll just relent and just slam down like the 1K on it. Well, that said though, the time that'll happen is probably when the windshield shatters in my face and causes me profuse bleeding out of like my eye sockets or something. I like to use things until they're completely expired. Speaking of, my shoes. I have a pair of work shoes that literally have not lasted a year, and there's already like a hole in like the heel. On both shoes. Now, both of these, okay, well, the shoe thing is my fault. It's probably mostly my fault. Partially, it's due to it being a cheap shoe. It's not an expensive shoe at all. I think it's like a $40 to $50 shoe. It's made of like fake leather and stuff like that. Yeah, but the main reason why it expired so quickly is that how I take off my shoes is that I unlace them and then I do the toe heel method. Use the front of my foot on like use the front of one foot and then just like tug at the heel of the other foot and then just lift out. Yeah, that's how I take off my shoes. That's how I take off my shoes, and that has resulted in me needing to get new shoes. So I was talking with a coworker, not a direct coworker, because that they're in a different department from mine. But like she said, well, she pointed out that my she basically pointed out that my heels were basically falling apart. So she gave me suggestions on what kind of shoes I should get for like durability. There's a pair of hiking boots called Wolverines. I was looking at their website and they do have a sale right now. Like, and it's a good sale too. It's like 55% off. So instead of paying like 185 for like a pair, I'm paying like 70. That's not bad. That's really good. So if those shoes will last me a while, then you know what? I'll wear a pair of hiking boots to work. Well, I don't know if they're hiking boots, they're more like they're more hiking shoes, because isn't the thing to quantify boots that you have to have like you know the calf sleeve? I call it the calf sleeve, but it's basically, you know how boots look like, you know how shoes look like. Yeah, you have that calf sleeve that just, I can't describe things well, but you know what I'm talking about, that one. But I think they're still quantified as like hiking boots, so I'm thinking of getting those. The really expensive, really durable boots or like shoes though, those are gonna run me into the hundreds, maybe several hundreds. I remember another coworker in my department was telling me how he has had a pair of expensive like boots for decades, and they're still in great shape and like quality. Just because at that point in his life, he decided to shell out the big bucks to get a shoe or like a boot that lasts. So, in hindsight, that could be something that I could look into, but that is still a big purchase for me at this moment in time, and I don't want to make with those. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just like with my car. The shoes are just a necessity. So I just pay whatever price I need for like necessity. I don't really think too far forward with it. It's like, oh, I need it replaced, so I'll just replace it. Actually, with that said, I'm kind of surprised my car has lasted this long. I did get that like side swipe within the first like 2 years of the car, but outside of that, it hasn't run into it hasn't run into any internal problems at all. So that is extremely surprising, because with how much I use it, it's my daily driver, and I don't have a short commute at all. I have a very long comparatively to other people in other countries, because here's the thing, stateside is very big, very wide open. There's too much space in between places, because we live in such a big plot of land. Other countries don't gotta worry about this, but we do. And because of that, my commute is almost an hour. It is almost an hour. Almost an hour of just straight driving, which to normal people, well, I shouldn't say normal people, to the average person that I've talked to, where I've said that is my commute time, all of them have said that's pretty crazy. And to be fair, I agree, even though I'm completely used to it, because the commute time is my YouTube video and podcast listening time. And yes, I do that while driving. To be honest, I don't need to look at a YouTube video too much to watch it. So, I just prop it up on some sort of like little holder and then just catch up on what I need to watch for myself. Recently, it's been a lot of wrestling documentaries. I think I watched one recently called Lucha Libre. That one was a pretty good one. The main focus of it, well, aside from the sport of Lucha Libre in Mexico, the main character of that one is not somebody I'd personally expect. It was Shocker. Yeah. To be completely fair, not many people, or like barely anybody outside of Mexico probably knows who Shocker is, but Shocker is pretty, I'd say he's pretty well known in Mexico. He's definitely not in his younger years anymore. He was probably more prominent in his younger years, but especially these days, I think he's in his like 50s or something. But yeah, he was basically the main focus for about, I think more than half of the like documentary, and it's just like detailing his time like in a section of his life, like maybe like a year's wise of his day-to-day life in like lucha as a professional wrestler in like Mexico. It's pretty interesting because with Shocker, he's it's just little bits of his like life. Also, they also documented the time when he had a pretty bad like knee injury that took him out for like I think 6 to 8 months. Yeah, it took him out for like 6 to 8 months. And the thing that's interesting about that is that when the knee injury happened and like Shocker rolled out of the ring to like get like to get somebody to notify someone that his kneecap basically just popped. His opponent, which at the time was Ultimo Guerrero, which is very interesting. It's just a stark contrast because these days Guerrero does not wear a mask because he lost it to like Atlantis like quite a few years ago. But that just shows how old the documentary itself is. I think it released in like 2016 or something. That is a long time ago. Like almost, like 7 years ago. I think it says, yeah, 7 years ago. But yeah, at the time, Guerrero, like Ultimo Guerrero, he was still wearing a mask. So I had to basically mentally like check myself, thinking like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, that is Guerrero. He still has a mask at this time. But yeah, during when Shocker's knee popped, like Guerrero still he didn't shoot on him. He just still like went on with the show and still like attacked him like kayfabe wise, even though they were trying to notify like personnel in the arena that Shocker needs medical attention. So it was kind of interesting. And Shocker still played up the kayfabe of it, even though that both of them are like professionals and knew what was basically going on. Just like even in the documentary interviews, a lot of the people being interviewed, a lot of the wrestlers, they still played up the kayfabe of it. It's a weird mix of like, there's some parts that they adhere to kayfabe, and the other parts they try to keep it based in reality. So it's not like too fantastical for like what's supposed to be a grounded documentary. It's interesting. Two aspects of that documentary were also very surprising to me, and that is the focus on two wrestlers, which are Fabian and Pero Aguayo Jr. Both rest their souls. So the documentary was actually filmed, I believe. So part of the documentary was filmed while they were still alive, and then in the later half, it was very obvious that, they basically did what is essentially like remembrances and like eulogies for them, because apparently this documentary was filmed over the course of like several years, which is pretty like amazing in my opinion. But pretty sad in hindsight because two of the focuses of the documentary are the luchadors that and wrestlers that have already passed, like Fabian. He they chronicled his career to the point where he lost his like mask, because he was wrestling in a mask before like going like maskless. But then just like a couple of moments later into the documentary, they were talking about like how he passed away and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a mood whiplash kind of thing. And then the really like shocking part was like Pero Aguayo's, because with him they actually showed footage of him, like extended footage of him being like limped over the ring ropes when he was like after like right after he had those like 3 cracked like vertebrae and stuff like that. He was just like limp. And it's like, I think at the time people didn't know that he very likely just died on the spot. So when that footage was being run, my brain was like, whoa, that is literally a dead person. That is literally a dead person right there. Like, rest his soul. Like, he was gone way too soon. But it's interesting how documentaries just, like, show that stuff. It's like the gray area of documentaries where you can show, like, kind of morbid stuff like that, but because it's supposed to chronicle, like, as much as you can of a certain subject down to its, like, nitty-gritty, down to its, like, even, like, darkest, like, moments, then you can basically show that in a documentary for educational purposes. So it's just interesting to see. Yeah. But outside of that, that was a pretty good documentary. I finished that, and yeah, I don't know how many of the wrestlers they focused on actually still wrestle regularly. I know this is Mexico we're talking about, so if somebody like Negro Casas, if he could still like have matches in his late 60s, yeah, I'm pretty sure Shocker does a match whenever he can, when he's not working at his like family like steakhouse or something. I think it's a steakhouse. He has a restaurant. He opened a restaurant at some point like a decade ago, and that's where he spends some of his time as well when he's not wrestling. So yeah. Yeah, it's also interesting to see like it's interesting to see other wrestlers there that you would have thought that the documentary would have tried to get more of a focus on. I know in the beginning of the documentary they had an interview with like Blue Demon Jr., which yeah, that is quite the legacy there behind like the mask and like the person. And the really shocking one too is later on, like in the first half of the documentary, there was a point where you could see, I think, Pero Aguayo Jr. in a match with El Hijo del Santo, and yeah, that is really interesting how they couldn't get at least an interview with Santo, but I don't know. Maybe he just refused the interview. That could very well be possible. I don't know how open Santo is, or how canny of a businessman he is when it comes to like this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd to me. Yeah, but that was a good documentary. The only other ones that I need to watch are I think Kim Justice had put out two essay videos, or at least short lookovers. I just call them essay videos. There's one on the early days of MMA and shoot wrestling in Japan, and the other one is, I believe, Michinoku Pro, which both are subjects that I'm really interested in, because only recently did I start to get into like looking at clips of promotions like Pancrase, Shuto, and what have you from that early era of Japanese MMA / pro wrestling hybrid, that kind of stuff. I find that really interesting now, especially after getting into such wrestlers such as I think Keno, Who's another one? Nobuhiko Takada, like those guys. Yeah, I do appreciate the shoot style of the shoot hybrid style these days now. Because here's the thing, I like that because it bridges the gap that I couldn't cross when it comes to getting into like UFC, like MMA and stuff like that. I like the hybrid style of shoot and like pro wrestling, cause sure, more of the movements and like more of the moves look very like raw and like more have more weight behind them, but there's still, the outcome is still like predetermined, right? So they do have the room to put in more of the showman pro wrestling aspects to it, like, oh wow, these guys are going for like mat wrestling and trying to go for like submission holds, and then for some reason one of them decides to just pull off a moonsault. I like that. That's kind of cool. It's just a little reminder that, okay, this is still a pro wrestling match. One of these guys will still pull off like a standing moonsault or something, or like a really crazy drop kick out of nowhere, while interlacing it in between their like shoot kicks, takedowns, and then like toe holds and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It's really cool. But yeah, the other part, Michinoku Pro though, ooh man, I'm starting to get into on top of like early Japanese MMA, like the hybrid Japanese, I think Lucha Libre high flying style that got introduced with folks like Ultimo Dragon and stuff like that. It's usually, I think it was mostly like Michinoku Pro and members of that promotion that introduced like that style of well, I wouldn't say introduced. The one to introduce it was, I think, like Tiger Mask, and then before him was I don't think it was Grand Naniwa or something. It was somebody else. Let's see. I don't think it was Grand Naniwa. No, Grand Naniwa is way different. Yeah, no, that's a different person altogether. Who was the Gran Hamada? That was the one. It was basically Gran Hamada and folks like Tiger Mask and those guys that introduced the high flying like Lucha Libre style to like Japan. Yeah, it was basically those guys. And then later on, you got folks like Ultimo Dragon, popularizing it even further, like Ultimo Dragon, Jushin Liger, the high like flyers like Keiji Muto back in the day, I think. Yeah, those guys. Oh, you also got Jinsei Shinzaki, Taka Michinoku, those guys. I find that pretty neat to see those crazy moves being done back in the day. Just like early like lucha style. Well, I think like in like the 90s is especially crazy to me because before that you basically saw like more technical and mat-based stuff, but then in the 90s for some reason things just exploded and like the high flying moves just got accentuated even more. It's kind of crazy to see like a young Rey Mysterio doing like a barrel roll dive outside the ring and landing on someone's shoulders and then just like doing a head scissors throw on them. I think that match was against like Eddie Guerrero in like CMLL, I think. Yeah, that was especially crazy to see, just in the context that it was the 90s. Oh man. But yeah, that's basically what I've been watching. Ooh. So the stream title today is I Have No Plan, or just implies that I basically have no plan, which is true, mind you. It is true. I don't really have a plan at all. So, I just got a couple of things that I'm just gonna catch folks up on. One of them being actually this. Oh, not that, but this. Yeah, this right here. So, to nobody's surprise, I'm still playing Armored Core 6. I'm spending most of my time making builds and trying them out online, and I can basically say that the meta is definitely like developing and reaching like the point where I'm seeing a lot of similar builds. Yeah, the experimentation phase is slowly like petering off, and people are realizing that well, what builds are pretty much in the area of optimal. But then comes out, I think, this guy, TKGP, and he comes out with the opportunity for folks to add their AC designs to an upcoming arena expansion mod. He found out a way to add another tab to the arena menu to essentially add like 30 or more combatants, which is pretty awesome. I hope he releases, I think, well, either like a tool or like a version of this mod to, like, I don't know, like change it yourself. So if you don't like the combatants featured in this mod, you can substitute those with like your own. I hope that they release something like that, because I don't know, if I'm being perfectly honest, I have a very specific like desire when it comes to what I would want out of an arena expansion mod. And I'm a person that builds a lot of ACs that take inspiration from other ACs already present in like the series. So I would be basically creating a legacy arena, essentially, where at the top it would I think it would be somebody based on one of the like big #1 rankers, maybe 9ball. Though I don't know, with how I would build 9ball in AC6, I don't think that would be a really good final opponent for like the arena. But anyway, TKGP has put out this has basically put out this submission form down here where you can enter as many entries from yourself as you can. I think he says here that he'll probably submit, well, he'll probably choose only one of however many you submit to him. But I'm going to submit, I've already submitted, I think, 3 or 4 builds. I'm gonna try to submit one more today, because the deadline is 3 p.m. today, basically. So when this stream is done, I'm going to try to make like 1 or 2 more builds to send over, and hopefully one of them gets picked, because I don't know, it would be nice to see like at least my footprint in one like mod, despite my inability to do anything on a technical level when it comes to like modding. At least I can contribute somehow. That's why I need to make these builds like especially good, right? I think I submitted like a 9ball cosplay build, and then I also submitted like a wheelchair, a burnt construction bot, and then the 4th one is, I believe, like a sniper. Even though sniping doesn't exist in AC6, I'm still submitting a sniper. So yeah, 4 of them. I'm gonna submit 1 more today and see how that works out. I don't think so here's the thing with all 4 of those builds. Aside from the burnt construction bot dual wielding like flamethrowers, the other 3 builds were meant to be like high rankers, essentially, if not like within the top 10 rankers. The next build I'll probably do is like probably more of a bottom ranker type of build. I'm probably gonna base it off of like arena opponents like Adu or like Danger Zone from like AC Project Phantasma, maybe? essentially very basic looking like ACs, but trying to conform their lore in a way that's like, oh, this guy is just starting out, and so and something to that aspect. He hasn't won much in the arena. Well, actually, I can't say that either because the arena is a virtual one in AC6, and there's no like actual sanctioned arena in the lore of AC6, so I can't really do that. But I probably can introduce somebody who's relatively new lore-wise. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's basically what I've been working on these past couple of days, or like the last week, because this was introduced like I think last week. I could show off like the builds. Maybe I can show off the builds. I don't know. You know what? Maybe. Nah, but then I have to set up the game. Oh, damn it, I have to set up the game. Okay, maybe not this time. But when, at a certain point, I will just show off, like, my builds again in AC6. They're not optimized yet. Definitely not. With the expansion mod, I think he specifically asked that, let's see. A unique design or interesting theme is basically the what they're looking for. So anything that's like, oh yeah, this guy is so and so, like very average lore, and then he's just like toting around like dual zimmies with dual stun needles. No, I don't think he's gonna look for. I don't think he's gonna go for that. Because if this was solely based on just meta builds, that would be a very God, that would be a very awful. That would be super awful. Yeah, so it's nice that they're basically prioritizing just unique like builds and good lore. And it doesn't have to be like hard set lore. Like at least you should be lore compatible. And they said that they're generally preferred, but we're free to basically invent certain things about the lore that don't really that are too egregious, which I tried to do. Well, I tried my best to do it, but hopefully one of mine is chosen. He probably has to sift through like hundreds of builds, so the chances of one of my builds making it in is pretty low. But I hope that one of them gets in. Though, unfortunately, because of my lack of emblem making skills, if somebody is chosen over me because their emblem looks great, I totally understand, because I cannot for the life of me, like, just use the emblem maker to make anything, like, above, like, average. Or, like, simple. Which is sad, but if that unfortunately like takes me out of consideration, then so be it. I just hope that they release another version of the mod that allows you to put in your own that allows you to basically put in like your own entries outside of theirs. Yeah. Anyway, this mod releases on the 24th, so like a week from like today. Yeah. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna play it and see just how the builds are. Maybe I'll get some ideas from like that. Maybe I'll actually get some ideas from the mod for like builds. Because currently right now, the builds I've been working on, actually, you know what? Let me just go over here. Let me go take that off for a second. So, in Armored Core Master of Arena, you have several, you basically have several of these different types of extra arenas in the game. After you go, I think after you beat the game, I think? Yeah, after you've beaten the story, yeah, after you've beaten the story, then these other arenas open up. And the one I focused on is the champion the champion ACs. So what's awesome about these ACs is that they're all based on builds from tournament winners during the Project Phantasma era of Armored Core. These are actually all the builds of tournament winners. Now, some of the builds are not 100% like one for one. One example being like this guy, Big Shogun right here. According to an interview with one of the tournament winners that I saw on a Japanese site, Big Shogun was not using what's called the green rifle among the Japanese AC community. The green rifle here is basically the most like balanced, consistent, like slap this onto any build and it would just be completely great. Like this is a very solid rifle and you can literally just slap this onto any build and you will do fine. Like the most consistent all-around rifle. This guy did not use that. He actually used the finger machine gun because remember these builds are for Project Phantasma. And in Project Phantasma, the finger machine gun was like a 5,000 ammo bullet spraying monster. And so this guy wasn't using the rifle, he was using a finger machine gun. And especially, okay, so this guy's pretty interesting too, because if you look at each one of these like ACs here, this guy's the only tank. This guy is the only tank. And I think this was noted in that interview that I just talked about, where the interviewee, which is this guy, Yu, and mind you, Yu is pretty crazy in and of himself, because this was a guy who was so dominant in tournaments. Like in his like career, he won 9 tournaments across first gen and second gen. He won so often that a representative from Software told him to not come to any more tournaments because they want more diverse winners. So this guy won so often that he got soft banned from tournaments. Yeah, that's crazy. But then this guy right here, you mentioned, did a little short blurb on Big Shogun right here, Tokugawa. And he was noting that even though the two of them never met in tournament in real life, he was hearing of how a tank AC won a tournament, and he was so curious as to how a tank AC won a high-level tournament, because all of these guys right here, they're all rocking like lightweight builds. Whereas just this guy's the stark contrast in him just being like a tank. So what he found out, eventually he got footage of Big Shogun's tournament win, and what he saw was all Big Shogun did was choose the map where there was an obstacle at one of the corners, and all this guy would do would just go to that corner and camp out there. He would camp out there and either time out somebody, you would assume, or just like pelt them with like missiles and machine gun fire, and he would just stay there. He's basically a missile camper. So after finding this out, I think it was quoted, Yu was quoted as saying, "Wow, that's a pretty boring way to play." And you know what? This was, according to this guy, it was at the time when a lot of tournament players were just in it to win it. So him just being a camper and winning a tournament, you know what? That is completely fair. More power to you, Tokugawa. More power to you. Like, he managed to win a tournament against all the odds of crazy, like, lightweight builds, just with a camping build. But yeah, all the builds that I've got so far are all based off of these guys. However, they're not one-to-one recreations. They are not one-to-one recreations of certain builds. Because a lot of these builds if you try to make an approximation build in AC6, it just wouldn't work because there are certain like weapon types that are just not great at all. I know that rifles recently got a buff. Rifles recently got a buff, yes, but they're still mediocre compared to a lot of other options in the game. They're still mediocre. So all these guys, most of them, well, I shouldn't say all of them, most of these guys use the green rifle. They use this green rifle. But the equivalent of this rifle in AC6, or the closest approximation I could find for it, is a cross between the Scudder Turner or the Ransetsu RF. I would say it's more the Ransetsu RF because that one just has the better general stats for how the game of AC6 is basically designed around. But even so, the Ransetsu RF still pales in comparison to like other options such as I think ducats, heavy machine guns like the miniguns, obviously the shotguns. Yeah. So I still tried to create. I basically tried to create updated builds for these guys for AC6. That's what I tried to do. And I think I did a pretty okay job. The only issue is I don't know what to do about missiles. Because AC6's missiles, I don't think the meta has developed enough yet for people to determine if, like, what missiles are actually good. I have my ideas of what missiles are actually good, but the greater community has not decided yet what missiles, outside of a couple few, are actually, like, you know, viable or not. Because, I don't know, missiles feel very inconsistent to me. Unless they're the plasma missiles, where they have, like, an AoE around, like, their impact point, the normal missiles are pretty, like, they have high impact damage, but if you're against somebody that knows how to, that knows movement very well, then you are basically, like, sitting on, like, dead weapons. I think it's because of the low, like, velocity of just projectiles in general in AC6. Because in AC1, missiles were really fast. Missiles and bullets and projectiles were really fast. So it makes sense that, like, certain missiles just were the best option for, like, back weapons back in the day. But in AC6, because of how a lot of the kinetic, well, I shouldn't say kinetic, just projectiles in general are just generally slower. Missiles lose quite a bit of their luster, especially compared to, like, AC1 days. So I need to figure out, like, do I even keep missiles on any of these builds? Will I end up at a point where I just diverge from the original build idea entirely and just create just a shadow of what the original build is? Because especially in cases like this guy, Well, I'm calling them by their AC names because, I don't know, it's just my personal preference, but Well, it's hard to create something like this in AC6 because the thing about this build is that it solely focuses on the plasma cannon weapon arms. Problem. There's no weapon arms in AC6. There's no weapon arms at all. None. There's none whatsoever. On top of that, the two back magazines, because this was, I think, a thing in, like, AC1 at least. I don't know if it was in AC2, but there was a back part that just gave you extra ammo. Boy, that would be great for AC6, especially with how low on ammo just so many of the weapons seem to be. But that's besides the point. Yeah, this guy just banks completely on his like weapon arms, because these weapon arms are pretty good in AC1. These weapon arms are pretty good. Well, first gen. I shouldn't say AC1, but first gen. When I say AC1, I meant first generation. But yeah, weapon arms were pretty like highly tuned because, I mean, look, you're losing the ability to have like a melee weapon, and if you run out of ammo, you're basically sitting on like a dead AC. So you gotta make the weapon arms pretty good to compensate for the fact that you're losing a lot of, you're losing in so many other aspects, right? But yeah, these plasma weapon arms, I would assume are pretty damn good. So the only issue is that he's the only one with weapon arms out of everybody here. So this guy is completely specialized, but if you play your build good enough, if you know how to play your build good enough, then I guess you can make anything work. But yeah, anyway, it's just when you're trying to make this in like AC6, the only real approximation would be to dual wield like nebulas. And here's the problem: if you're dual wielding nebulas and nothing else, then guess what? You're essentially like completely one-dimensional, because dual wielding nebulas is not enough of a strat to really like have like a complete build, because nebulas, even though they have very high charge attack damage, when you stagger someone, you kind of need another weapon to capitalize on that stagger. You need like a direct hit weapon. So if I wanted to create a build in the spirit of Well-El, I would probably redo the build where you would have the dual nebulas, yes, but you would have, I think, either shoulder weapons or weapons in the bay that capitalize on direct hit damage. That's what I would do. That's what I would basically do. Sure, it's a bit divergent from like the all-in type of build this is going for, but that's how I probably would do it. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing in terms of builds. Actually, this is probably gonna be a really I think I might do this for the next stream, because I thought it would do this for today, but if you look here, I'm on Dova System. I'm on dovasystem.jp. This is where literally just most VTubers get their background music or just BGM outside of what was that other one? Oh, it wasn't Bandicamp. It wasn't SoundCloud. It was the Audio Stock. Outside of Audio Stock, this is the next place where a lot of VTubers get their BGM. Yeah, and there's just dozens of new entries that gets posted like every day. So there will be a VTuber or two that will have like the same like BGM, but most VTubers have pretty different like BGMs if they're not shooting for like, oh, this is the popular BGM that everybody uses. Yeah, the one you're hearing right now for my stream is, I don't think I've found somebody yet that uses it, but I'm pretty sure eventually at some point somebody will use it. So I mean, it's fine. Like for example, Noelle from Hololive, she uses a certain piece of like BGM, and then just randomly I like tune into Randon's like stream, like Randon, he uses the same BGM for his like starting screen. So that's just really funny to see in like hindsight. But yeah, I mean, it's fine if certain BGMs overlap. Speaking of overlap, one of the new members of HoloPro recently from like Regloss, Hajime, the resident new member of Holo Baby, her BGM was originally Bay's ending BGM. It was actually Bay's credits BGM, her old one, her very first one. So it was kind of interesting to just hear that. So because I was like, wait, am I on the right stream? Man. Yeah, they're all doing great so far. I'm especially, in terms of, like, regloss. In terms of regloss, here, I could actually just talk about regloss as the last thing today. Let's see. Yeah, regloss right here. Out of all of them, the ones I'm most interested in following, not really watching, because yeah, I don't really watch many like JP members these days, because I mean, there's enough EN members, I would say, that I probably won't enter like a drought of like watching like HoloPro like at one point, I think like a year ago. But out of all of them, I am most interested in following like one AO. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Like, I'm interested in following her because like she is essentially the prince. She is essentially the prince. Like, she makes everybody swoon and dresses like a grandpa. Her normal outfit is great because she literally got that grandpa drip. Like, shoot, let me just bring it up here. There they are. Look at that. Look at that. The grandpa drip. Like, this is, at first you think like, wow, she dresses like so nice, like in a tux and everything, but then you see that like she has the blazer, but then she has the grandpa dress shirt, like so like vest over like dress shirt combo. Then she got the high riding like slacks, and then she has, this isn't even like fancy shoes, these are just like boots. Like, she has the grandpa look. And that's pretty great. Yeah, I like how she looks. Yeah, a great addition to Holo Tomboy. The other one that I wanted to... I didn't come... God damn it. I'm gonna go back to the main site because just on instinct, I just close every window I'm not using. Let's see. Okay, this is an interesting one. She is an interesting one. She is probably the youngest member, but she is so fascinating to me because of how close she is to Dregdom. Like, she is, I think in her own words, or at least somewhat similar to her own words, she is close to being like a dreg of like society. And she is so young too. Like, she's very upfront about it. She is, she's a heavy drinker, a heavy smoker, and a heavy gambler. All at the ripe age of 21. I'm like, good lord. Girl, what is going on with your life? Like, no wonder you were tweeting about your depleting bank account. Like, she is, like, up in front about how much of, like, a dreg she, like, almost is. So it kind of creates this, like, mental image of, like, if it weren't for HoloPro, she would basically be, like, completely, like, in the dumps. But also, she is a big fan of Rakugo. I think Rakugo is a type of, like, performance art or storytelling in Japan? In Japanese culture? I think so. That's the most general way I can say it, but hey, I mean, she's just really interesting. I'm not all about the heavy smoking thing. Like, I'm definitely like, please don't smoke if you can help it. Actually, even if you can help it, well, even if you can't help it, you should probably see about not smoking. Please. Please. Smoking has zero benefit to anything in your life. Like, I mean, even drinking has, like, very little benefit, like, to your life as well. But, that I can excuse. Smoking is, I don't know, man. This just reminds me of the time when, I saw a clip of Marine, saying how much she'd, She was like she didn't like smokers at like her old job. I mean, she's more mellow about it now, but she's definitely she's probably still in the camp of please don't smoke. She was even telling her viewers in that clip to not smoke. So it would be kind of interesting to see how, like, at the very least, from what I can understand, like Raden, when she takes a smoke break, she doesn't smoke in front of people. So at the very least, she does that. Though I hope after she smokes, she like takes a breath mint or something. Because actually, I don't know if a breath mint would actually like help with the smoke smell after they're done with like smoking a pack or something. I don't know if they smoke a pack during like one smoke break, but you know what I mean. Like the smoker's smell that lingers for a while. I don't know what people do to like alleviate that, because obviously I don't smoke. I probably will never smoke in my life, or do anything of the sort of like drinking or like doing drugs, obviously. So I just don't see it in me to do that. Oh my god. Oh. But yeah, she's very interesting. I'm going to follow her just to see how she ends up after like a year, cuz with her, like, she's already gotten in trouble like with management for her debut stream, because her debut stream was like she talked so much in her debut stream that she forgot to go through the usual debut stream like slides of, hey, this is what I like, this is the music I'm into, hey, these are my dislikes. She didn't even go through that. She didn't even go through introducing herself like properly, because most of the stream was just her like talking. Just like it was her debut stream was a Zatsu stream, which is hilarious in hindsight. But yeah, outside of that, Hajime, definitely I will keep an eye on. She is, I don't know, she seems like the precious one. I mean, she's another member of Hollow Baby, so it's like there are those in the JP community that were saying that, oh wow, her pronunciation of words is as bad or might be worse than Miko. So Miko has the opportunity to be a better Japanese speaker than another member finally. God, poor Miko, and now poor Hajime. Both of them are just going to be like the butt of like, oh wow, these guys, these members are the Hollow JP. That's incredible. They speak it so uniquely. The other two though, are also interesting as well. Kanade, she's a goofball. She's all I can say is she's a goofball, likes music, played a recorder for her debut stream, and also loves dad jokes. Like, it's so funny because like the prospect of dad jokes is definitely a more popularized overseas thing, especially on the American end of things. But for her to be familiar with dad jokes is awesome. Because even though I play along with like a good dad joke, but like I genuinely like dad jokes. I'm not even a father myself, but I just like how corny they are. So she has a corny sense of humor, which is fantastic. And her, like, she's absolutely like the stream grinder. She is absolutely the stream grinder. She's the equivalent of Koyori out of this group. She streams a long time and also streams very frequently compared to the rest of them. I think the one that streams the most infrequently that I've noticed was Ao. But then again, they've only been here for like, what, a week? So it can't really say much about that. But yeah. Hopefully their careers are long and prosperous, because they are part of a new branch, which is, I think, managed a bit differently from the other branches. Like, you would think that they are, like, the more idol branch because of, like, the music focus, but then you just see all their personalities, and it's like, good lord, especially you here. Like, yeah, definitely your atypical idol. Everyone else here, it's like you might have shades of it, but I can expect that in a month you'll see the most unhinged aspects to like every one of these members. Like she's only the beginning. Like you'll see unhinged aspects to essentially like everyone. Okay, she also showed a bit of unhinged aspects in like her debut stream as well. She definitely has aspects of like Marine's openness, if you catch my drift. So yeah, I'm excited for their careers. So hopefully they are able to reach like the goals they set over their career, the course of their careers here. And hopefully this first group is the start of a very like successful like branch for HoloPro. Opening a new branch is kind of like a risky move business-wise, but aside from the YouTube sub-culling, their numbers for their streams are doing really well. Which, you know, makes sense because, I mean, even though the hype around VTubers basically, like, has reached, like, a standstill over here in the West, in Japan, they're still getting popular and still on the extreme rise. So, yeah. If it makes sense that we probably won't see another EN gen for like both stars and EN for like a while because of the current outlook for like overseas, then so be it. In Japan, they absolutely should just keep capitalizing on the VTuber boom, the continuing VTuber boom in Japan. Though I did see the financial reports from like HoloPro that were posted on like a Japanese, like official Japanese website some time ago with like an interview with the CFO and like Yago, I think it was the CFO. One of those guys, where they did entertain the prospect of introducing HoloPro to Spanish-speaking countries. So Hololive Español at some point. Hololive Español at some point. My boy Haka being the proto-holo Español? Ooh, the prospect is just insane to me. That being said, I mean, there's definitely a space for one of the big companies to capitalize on a Spanish branch, especially with the reputational disaster that is what was that company? Waktor, yeah. With the reputational disaster and like the bleeding of talents from Waktor, yeah, the Spanish community is up for the grabs. It is absolutely up for the grabs. And my hope is that somebody capitalizes on it soon. Because, yeah, while the financial outlook, of those of certain like Spanish-speaking countries are like, I mean, it's here and there. That's still a big fan base right there, a big potential fan base to like capitalize on. So, hopefully one of these companies will actually, you know, just introduce a branch. You know, it'd be crazy if one of these companies actually hires who was the most famous, most well-known of the Spanish speakers in like Waktor again? Was it Mitsurugi or something? I don't even know if her name was Mitsurugi. I don't even know if that is a safe talent to like bet on for like a Spanish branch. I don't know, but hopefully there are Spanish speakers that are up for like the taking. So I have hopes, but I'm gonna keep my hopes at a modicum level because, I mean, I still remember the lack of EU love from HoloPro, definitely. I mean, basically, like, Niji already has the European community because several of their members are from the EU, so they have that. So if Niji gets the EU and like China, then HoloPro gets Indonesia and like Spanish-speaking countries. I mean, I mean, it's definitely a trade-off, that's for sure. Outside of that, though, I think that's gonna be it for me today. Next time, I'm gonna go and just look through like the new songs of Dova Syndrome, because what I want to do is finally choose new BGM, because I don't know if I can just stand listening to this piano BGM for nigh on end. I mean, I'll probably get used to it, but holy crap, sometimes I wonder if I ever have any other BGM, which I do. I literally have the window up here that has so many BGM I could be choosing, and I choose none of them because I just want something like really like casual and chill. So we're gonna look for that next time. I don't know when next time is gonna be though, because I still gotta go and bring up the question of how we're gonna fix the internet. It was bad in the beginning, but currently right now, out of all of the frames that have accumulated during the stream, I've only dropped 604, which for an hour 15 stream, that's pretty good. It was very iffy at the beginning, but I hope maybe it is a provider problem. I really hope it is. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna go and eat dinner and build one more AC, and hopefully 5 AC build submissions is enough for me to at least appear in the upcoming arena expansion mod. My fingers are crossed. So, yep, I'll just take care. I'm gonna go and see what I can do about this whole thing. And I'll keep posted on when the next stream is gonna be. I usually just post it. I usually imply that I'm gonna be streaming the next day, like the previous day, so just look out for that. Usually when I want to stream, I will post about it the day before, or like the night before, and then just do it, hopefully. Yeah, I'm off. Good night. It's not night. It is literally the middle of the day. God, that just reminds me of that one story like Bae recently talked about, where she was hanging out with Start End, and then like Aqua literally greeted Bae with konbanwa, like good evening and stuff like that, and it was like midday. I'm like, God, Aqua, you have made so much strides in being more social. I am so proud of you, but you are still a goofball sometimes. Anyway, I'm gone. I'm out. I'll see you next time.